In this video, we're going to have a look at how to simplify algebraic fractions. To do this, we're just going to have a look at a few examples to start off with initially, and then we'll build this up. So if we have a look at this first problem, 20ab over 10bc. If we want to simplify this, I suggest doing this in two stages. Simplify our numbers first, and then have a look at any letters in common. So if I have a look at my numbers, 20 and 10, 10 goes into this once and into 20 twice. Do I have any letters in common? Yeah, there's b in both the numerator and denominator. So I can simplify b. b would simplify to 1. I can then just read off what I've got left. So I've got 2 times a times 1. That's 2a. On denominator, I've got 1 times 1 times c. That's 1c. It's 2a over c. Let's have a look at this next example. I'm going to change this actually. I'm going to change this to a 10. Okay. 36b squared c over 10bc squared. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this a little bit differently from the first one. What I'm going to do, see these b squareds here? I'm going to rewrite them like this here, times b, and that's c I'm going to do in green. That, in the numerator, that's 36b squared c. On the denominator, I've got 10, I've got 1b, and then I've got 2 c's, because it's c squared. Hopefully you can see that. When we've got it to this stage, we can then maybe start looking to simplify. Right, 10 and 36, 2 goes into that. 2 goes into that 5 times, and 2 goes into that 18 times. One of these b's can simplify with one of these b's. One of these c's can simplify with one of these c's. And then from there, we can just read off what I've got left. I've got 18 times 1 times b times 1. That's 18b. 5 times 1 times 1 times c. That's 5c. You could have just went straight there. You could have said, okay, well, b goes into this one time and it will simplify with one of the b's from here. Similarly, c would simplify with one of the c's from here. And then you'd simplify 36 and 10. Let's have a look here. Okay. Let's have a look at my numbers. I've got 9 and 18, so 9 goes into that once and into this twice. No x's in common, but they both have y squared, so I can simplify both the y squareds here. What have I got left? I've got 2 times x squared times 1, so that's 2x squared, no, that's over 1 times 1. That's just going to give me 2x squared. That's like a bit of an introduction to this. More generally though, like these are all quite nice because these expressions are factorized. All of these terms are multiplying each other. But sometimes we need to simplify algebraic fractions where the terms are not multiplying each other first. I've written this here. Generally, to simplify an algebraic fraction, we must factorize first. In these problems, everything was multiplying. In these problems, they're not going to be. So we need to make sure we're written it as something multiplied by something, and then we can go ahead and simplify. I've got 5 examples here to show you what I mean. Before we have a look at factorizing or to simplify, remember when we factorize, there's like a 3-step priority. Step 1, is there a common factor? Step 2, do we have a difference of 2 squares? And then step 3 is we'll factorize the trinomials. Okay, so we're going to apply this to our numerator and denominator and see if we can simplify anything. So we want to simplify 2x plus 26x squared over 4 plus 8x. So this looks very different to those expressions on the top because we've got like some additions involved here. So in order to simplify this, we need to factorize. We're going to factorize the numerator first. So step 1 of factorising is there a common factor? So we have a look at 2x and 26x squared. We'll have a look at our numbers, 2 and 26. 2 goes into both of those, and we'll have a look at the letters. They both have x in common. So we'll open up our bracket. So we've got 2x plus 26x squared. So 2x times what is 2x? That's going to be 1. 2x times what is 26x squared? Well, that's going to be 13x. Let's factorise our denominator. 4 plus 8x. Step 1, is there a common factor? Have a look at the numbers. Yeah, well, 4 goes into both of those. I'm going to have 1 plus 2x. Let's simplify. If both of these brackets were the exact same, I could simplify them, but they're not. If I have a look outside of my brackets, I've got a 2 and a 4. And because I've factorised, I can simplify it. So 2 goes into both of those. And then we can just read off. We've got 1x, that's just x. That's 1 plus 13x over 2, 1 plus 2x. Example 2. We want to simplify this. In order to simplify an algebraic fraction, we must factorise first. So if we have a look at our numerator, b squared minus 9, step 1, is there a common factor? Well, there's no numbers or letters in common. Step 2, do I have a difference of squares? Oh yeah, I do. 9 is 3 squared. So I can rewrite this as b plus 3, b minus 3. Let's have a look at our denominator. Step 1, is there a common factor? Well, yeah, 4 goes into both of those. And then that's going to be b plus 3. Now, hopefully you can see that we've got brackets in common. We've got factors in common. So I can simplify this b plus 3 with this b plus 3. We can only do that because they are factorised. So I've got one lot of b minus 3. I'll just write that as b minus 3. And then I've got 4 times 1. That's b minus 3 over 4. Example 3. X minus 7 over 2x squared minus 98. In order to simplify this algebraic fraction, we need to factorise. Let's have a look at the numerator. Is there a common factor? Is there a difference of squares? No, I can't factorise this numerator. So see the fact that I've got an x minus 7 here? It's maybe likely that I'm going to have an x minus 7 somewhere on the denominator. Let's have a look at our denominator. 2x squared minus 98. We want to factorise this. Step 1, is there a common factor? Well, yeah, 2 goes into both of those. So that's going to be 2x squared minus 49. When you factorise, particularly when you use a common factor, always check inside your bracket and check if you can factorise further. Because do you see inside that bracket, we've actually got a difference of squares. 7 squared is 49. So I've got x squared take away 7 squared. So I can rewrite that as x plus 7, x minus 7. And look, we've got that x minus 7 now appearing on both the numerator and the denominator. So we can simplify them. So x minus 7 would simplify to 1. And x minus 7 would simplify to 1. Technically, there's a wee bracket around that if you like. So we read off what we've got. Well, we've got 1 on the numerator and 2x plus 7 on the denominator. 2 final examples. X squared plus 5x plus 6 over x squared minus 4. So in order to simplify this, we need to factorise. You cannot just go ahead and simplify your x squareds. They need to be factorised. Let's have a look at our numerator. Is there a common factor? No. Is there a difference of squares? No. So it's going to be a trinomial. So it's going to be an x and an x plus plus, so it's going to be plus plus. I think about factors of 6 that add to 5. So things that multiply to make 6 that add to make 5. So 2 times 3 is 6 and 2 plus 3 is 5. So it's going to be x plus 2, x plus 3. So therefore it's likely that I'm going to get an x plus 2 or an x plus 3 on the denominator. Let's have a look. Is there a common factor? No. Do I have something squared take away something squared? Yeah, 4. 4 is 2 squared. So I've got x squared take away 2 squared. That's going to be x plus 2, x minus 2. And then we can simplify x plus 2 with x plus 2. They'll both simplify to 1. So I've got 1 lot of x plus 3. You can write that as x plus 3. If you want the bracket, you can put it there. I've got 1 lot of x minus 2, as so. And lastly, example 5. b minus 1 over b squared minus 21b plus 20. In order to simplify this, we must factorise. Let's have a look at our denominator. There's no common factor, no difference of squares. We can't do anything with our denominator. But the fact that we've got a b minus 1 here makes me think that I'm probably going to have a b minus 1 on the denominator. Let's have a look at on our denominator. We want to factorise this. They have no letters in common. There's no number in common. I've not got something squared take away something squared. So I'm going to have a trinomial. It's going to be b and a b. I'm probably going to get a b minus 1. So I'll look here. So this tells me that the signs are going to be the same. This tells me they're going to be different. This tells me they're going to be negative. I'll make that a wee bit clearer. The plus at the end tells me the signs are the same. The minus in the middle tells me that they're both going to be negative. Because a negative whatever times a negative whatever will give me a positive. So I'm thinking about factors of 20 that add to 21. Well, that's going to be 1 in 20. Do you see that? Because if I multiply this back out, b squared minus 20b minus 1b, that's minus 21b plus 20. And now we can simplify our b minus 1 with our b minus 1, and that's going to leave 1 and 1. So I'm going to have 1 over 1 lot of b minus 20. And that's it. In order to simplify an algebraic fraction, factorise first. Please remember that. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful. Comes up regularly in National 5. Important skill. Thank you very much.